Okay, now let's look at some of the pinouts that were shown here. So the pinout, notice right here when you're looking at the pins, there's something called the pinout view, and that's when it shows the pins like this, or it's sometimes more convenient to click here and see what's called the system view. The system view, it shows it more by category, so we see what's part of the system core, what are analog pins, what are timer pins, what are connectivity pins. So right here we see connectivity pins, what are computing pins. So it basically gives you a different way of looking at it as either the raw pins or by the system view. Here's another way to look at it. If you go to the system view and say I want to look at the GPIO pins, what it will do is bring up this group of GPIO, the general purpose IO, and it'll show you the actual pins and show how they are currently being configured. So a given pin can have all kinds of different options. For example, what mode do you want it to be? Do you want it to be an output, or do you want it to be an input? Do you want it to have a pull-up? Is it going to be a low or a high, and so forth? So all of these can be set here with this graphical tool. Same thing with clock configuration. Once you're done with your pinout configuration, you can go to the clock configuration and see how you can set the clocks different ways. For right now, just take an observation that you can indeed change the clocks, but we don't want to do that at this point in time. You can click on this Project Manager tab, and this is where you'll go in and enter the name of your project. So here's a key thing. What do you want to call this project? And in this case, notice I'm calling it the demo RTOS2 is the name of this project. So that's an important thing to enter. Another very important one to enter is right here. This is your tool chain. Because remember, this guy is going to generate code for you. Well, it's going to generate code by installing the tool, generating code for your specific tool chain. Very important for this course, since I'm using the True Studio. We'll be using True Studio as our tool. We want to make sure that you have True Studio selected. So give it a name and give it the tool set. Here's I've zoomed in a little bit to show that. So again, I called the project name Demo RTOS2, and my tool chain I selected here is True Studio. And notice it will it's basically going to generate this code for us, and at that point, one other thing before we generate the code, there's one more tab called Tools, and this Tools deals with power management. We're not going to use those right now, but just wanted to make you available another tab for Tools. Once all the settings are complete, it's time to generate the code. We do that by clicking right here, Generate Code. What it'll do is try to generate the code, but you might get a warning saying that it cannot generate the code because something's not right. In fact, notice this warning. It says when free RTOS is used, it is strongly recommended to use a HAL time-based source. Other than SysTick, the HAL time-based source can be changed from the Pinout tab under Sys. So it warns us, and it also says, do you still want to generate it? So you can say yes and ignore the warning, or you can say no, I want to change that. In this case, since it's telling me right where to change it, to go to the pinout and go under Sys, I'm going to choose no, and then I'll go here under my pinout configuration. So notice I've touched the pinout configuration, and under the categories, under System Core, I've gone to Sys. Right, it told me to go under Sys, and under Sys, when I click that, it has the Sys mode and configuration, and right here where it says time-based source, I select it to time 1, basically using timer 1. It originally was using the Sys default. Here I'm setting it to time 1. After doing that, I then can do my code generation, and if all goes well, it'll say the code successfully generated, shows you the path of where it generated. And this really completes the tool, this MX tool, and your next step is to click on Open Project. And when you click on Open Project, the True Studio will open up and you've got a project that's ready to be built. So my recommendation is you go through these same steps and get up to this point where you click on Open Project, and in another video I'll show what happens when we click on Open Project and open up, in this case, True Studio. I'm Norman McIntyre. Thanks as always for watching.